how to use one language and finally stick with that language. And if you know who I am, I'm this person. In 4 years, I've achieved this good body, 23 months of learning Japanese, not 22. I learned English, and I went from 8 hours of TikTok daily to 8 hours of language learning daily, and all of this because of learning languages. And so you can imagine that this person right here is basically not disciplined, and this person right here is basically disciplined, simple. And the points that we're going to be talking about is you know how to prioritize. Studying one language at a time is basically the only option, honestly. This is the people who study 3 languages at the same time. And this is how they look like. And this doesn't mean that you have to stick to just one. There's one way in which you can study multiple languages in 1 year, but at least you have to know how it is that you're going to prioritize them, right? And you'll know how to prioritize. And prioritizing actually looks like this. So let me draw here for you. Oh, okay. You can imagine that the person, right, who just does one thing, of course, is just way more disciplined than the person who just does lots of things. So prioritizing basically it is just that. So when you prioritize, I think I'm going to use this one. When you prioritize, your prioritization should look like this. So let's say that you go to work. On top of going to work, you, I don't know, watch some TikTok on the day. Maybe after watching some TikTok, you want to, I don't know, go and talk with your friends, right? Let's say that these are 3 tasks that you do on your week for a lot of time, right? Well, you can kind of think that the person who does these things, and on top of that, they add 3 languages, looks something like this, right? And what I mean by this is all of the activities that you do, right? And so let's say you have TikTok, Netflix, work, I don't know, video games, and on top of that, the 2 other languages, right? You can imagine that the thoughts of this person are going to be really dispersed, basically really dispersed through all of the day. And that is not efficient. That is just how it works, right? This is just not efficient because you are not going to be thinking only about one thing. You're going to be thinking about all of those things. And whenever you're working, so for example, let's say that I had all of those things to do on my day, and then on top of that, I had to record all of these videos. Of course, I'm going to be thinking about the discussion that I had yesterday with my, I don't know, girlfriend, with my friend, the discussion that I had with my father, the TikTok that I watched, the music I listened to, all of those things, right? And of course, whenever you do this, you are not prioritizing the thing that you should do. And so let's say that whenever you prioritize, you should do just that one thing. Of course, this doesn't mean that you're going to have just one dimensional life in which you have just one thing to do and it's just learning one language. Of course, no. But if you are prioritizing learning languages and languages is your first priority, then your life should more or less look like this. So it should basically be one thing, and in here at the end of the day are the things that you want to do that maybe you didn't do. So maybe you want to check your email, maybe you want to check your WhatsApp, maybe you want all of those things, right? Well, those things should be at the end of the day, not first thing on the morning. First thing on the morning, you shouldn't eat if you're prioritizing learning language. If you're prioritizing being in a bulk, right, and you're at the gym, you're a bodybuilder, then your priority should be bulking. But if your priority is learning languages, maybe first thing in the morning, you have 3 activities. You have learning vocabulary, you have learning grammar, and you have doing immersion, right? But maybe you don't learn grammar. Maybe you have only vocabulary and doing immersion and speaking. Let's say. Well then, what is the most difficult activity of these 3? If you are on your output phase, you should output first thing in the morning. And then after that, maybe you should study some vocabulary so you improve your speaking vocabulary. And then after studying vocabulary, you should start doing immersion because it's just way more enjoyable. It's just yeah, basically kind of like passive type of study, right? And so that's how your brain is. You do the thing that is most important for you first thing in the morning, and it's not first thing. Let's not say first thing in the morning. Let's say first thing on your day, right? That is usually how it works. So right now it's 9 a.m. I have recorded 2 videos already. My sister interrupted me and I couldn't record this video like 20 minutes ago, but like it doesn't matter. So yeah, that is how it works, right? I have already meditated. I did like, I don't know, 50 push-ups or something like that because it's Sunday today. And so yeah, basically I'm not really going to do that much things on the gym. And so yeah, basically that's how it looks. After this, I'm going to probably do some immersion because right now I'm going to be talking about this in one of the videos of this week. But like right now, I'm not really. I'm taking days free in my language learning, and I think like I'm basically making my language learning look like work, right? And so I take 2 days free, and the other 5 days is like 7 to 6 hours daily, and I'm going to be like trying to like basically see how this looks, see how this works, right? But yeah, that is how it works. That is how priority works. And so assuming one language, if you kind of understood this, assuming one language is basically the only option, and you should probably never do something different. At least one language at a time, as you can see here. As you can see here, one language at a time, right? Studying 3 languages at the same time is not good, never, right? And if you study 3 languages at the same time, you will be basically the type of person which is an overthinker, right? And overthinkers never get progress. So you can imagine that if you study 3 languages, you're going to say, okay, let's say that you're studying Mandarin, French, and Italian, whatever. And the person who studies those 3 languages will say, okay, let's do 2 hours of Mandarin, 2 hours of French, and 2 hours of Italian. How bad could it be? It can be really bad because now the problem is not the tasks that you're doing. The problem is the thoughts that you're getting after the tasks. So you're thinking, okay, I studied my 6 hours, 2 hours for each language. And then basically whenever what is going to happen to your brain is that, bro, should you think more in Chinese right now? Should you think more in Italian right now? Because you know that you have to think in the language in order to be able to speak the language, right? And so should be thinking in Mandarin right now. Should be thinking and basically all of those thoughts about those 3 languages that you're studying at the same time will be getting into your mind, and you will be this type of person which has lots of things to do, but in reality you don't get progress on the things that you do, right? And so if you study more than 3 languages at the same time and you actually get good progress, okay, good for you. But like 99% of the people are not like that, right? Your brain can literally focus on just one thing. And whenever you literally change your tasks, change the language that you're doing, basically you lose the focus that you have on the language that you're studying. And so if you study like 3 blocks of 3 languages, right, 2 hours each language, basically what will happen is that, okay, you study for you study for 2 hours Mandarin, but like now your brain has to make another entire change to start understanding Italian. And so you're literally making your brain not be in the zone every 2 hours. And literally, I'm not even I kind of talk about like the thoughts that you're getting, but like I'm not even talking about that because like you're going to be literally overthinking about, okay, should I study first French? Should I study first thing in the morning Italian, first thing in the morning Mandarin? And so it's going to be literally a pain in the ass, honestly. Yeah, next thing. So the people who study 3 languages at the same time are literally overthinkers. But you can do it the intelligent way. And what is the intelligent way of studying this? So I actually saw a guy that basically he kind of has like this ADHD mindset. And with this ADHD mindset, he said, okay, I really get bored after like 3 months of studying the same language. And so basically what he did was that for 3 months, for 2 months, he's going to study just one language. And maybe just you get really bored after those 3 months. That's fine. But now you leave that language kind of apart, right? You maybe do things at the end of the day in that language, but not first thing in the morning, and you start prioritizing other languages that you want to study. It is literally as simple as that. And so let's say that you want to study French, Mandarin, and Italian. Well, you're going to study French for 3 months or for 2 months, for 1 month, whatever time that you want to allocate. And then after that, you will say, okay, now I want to study Mandarin. And so I will leave French. Maybe I watch some content in French, but at the end of the day, just think of it as basically kind of scrolling, right? I'm not really going to think about it, but like if it happens, it happens. Think of it as scrolling, as simple as that. So you kind of like maintain the purse and you don't lose the purse, right? So for 2 to 3 months, you will basically study French, and then you will say, okay, I don't want to study French anymore. For some reason, whatever reason, and I will study Mandarin. That is how you study, because in that way, you're not going to be thinking about the next language that you have to study in 2 hours. You're going to be just basically putting all of your entire focus on the task that you have at hand for 1 month entirely, right? Again, this is basically how you prioritize things with everything on your life. And if you can master this skill of prioritizing, basically the progress that you will get on whatever task that you do on your life will be awesome. Okay, so this is all the video, I think. Yeah, this is all of the video. And make sure you check the 2 first link in the description. Right now, I'm working totally for free with my coaching calls. And so if you want to first check how I work for free, and then after that, maybe you want to pay me because I have helped you a lot with my free videos, or maybe I have helped you a lot with my coaching calls, then check that thing in the description and see how it is for you. So thank you, and leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment so more people see this type of new, let's say, language running video, if you could say it like that. And yeah, that's it. Bye.